On this edition of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast, we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Edmonton Trappers taking to the field for the very first time. Welcome to episode 128 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. It's been 40 years since Alberta baseball fans were first introduced to the Pacific Coast League. On April 14th, 1981, the Edmonton Trappers took to the field on the road against the Portland Beavers. 8 days later, April 22nd, the Trappers made their debut on home turf, taking on the Tacoma Tigers at Renfrew Park. It was quite the journey in making that all happen. Efforts to start a new professional baseball league in Western Canada and bring a team to Edmonton fell through, as did hopes to bring a Pioneer League team to the capital to face Calgary, Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat. Edmonton's Mr. Baseball, Mel Kowalchuk, wouldn't take no for an answer and looked into the possibility of AAA coming to town. When an expansion team wasn't feasible, he looked at buying an existing franchise, bringing in Peter Pocklington to help finance a deal for the Ogden Athletics. After some back and forth, the deal happened, the team moved, and the rest, as they say, is history. If you head to albertadugoutstories.com right now, our new top story is a deep dive into the saga surrounding the Trappers and what it took to bring the team to the capital. One of the people involved in making Kowalchuk's dream a reality was longtime coach and scout Orv Franchuk. Orv, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Take us back to the 1970s. You're all in on the Edmonton baseball scene. How did it come about that you became involved in trying to bring pro ball to town first off, through either a new league or the Pioneer League first?
Oh, my memory, I don't know if it goes quite that far back, but I'll do the best I can. Over those years in the early 70s, a lot of people tried to get me involved in bringing professional baseball to Edmonton. Pioneer League wise, Pacific Coast League wise, it was just something that people felt it would be a good fit. A lot of really, really good baseball people in the greater Edmonton area. So, that was kind of a natural. The border, was always an issue, customs and all of that. But, and then Mel approached me, and I kind of deflected that. And then finally Mel approached me and said, "What do you think?" And I gave him some contact information of people that I knew. But really, initially, Mel did a lot of the groundwork himself. And, he really needs full credit for bringing the AAA baseball to Edmonton, because, and then, obviously Peter being involved as finance, the money guy, and Mel just kind of threw the idea at him, and Peter says, "Yeah, I'll back you. Go ahead and go for it." And Mel did, and I a little bit of advice here and there once in a while, and I get a call from Mel once in a while. We talk about stuff, but he really was the guy, the force behind bringing the Trappers to Edmonton. And other than I was very involved and still very involved in coaching. And then when the Trappers came to Edmonton as an affiliate with the Angels, I became involved with the AAA club, because they needed guys who could throw batting practice and catch bullpens, and just the baseball knowledge that I had. People in the organization kind of like that, and so they wanted me to get involved, and so they wanted me to scout Canada. They thought, well, yeah, he can just go ahead and scout the whole country. I mean, that's not that big a deal. Well, they didn't realize how big Canada was, I don't think. But anyway, so I got involved in that, and then in the summers when I was teaching for the Edmonton Public School Board, in the summers I would coach one of their short season A clubs, and I got involved in doing that. First one was in Palm Springs, and then eventually Boise, Idaho, where we had our short season A club, and then eventually, and then during that whole time, I was still, after school, I would hustle down to the ballpark and help the AAA club, the Trappers, do what they did and be involved that way. And so that's kind of how that started. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, Joe. That's kind of my initial thoughts right off the top of my head.
When you think back on those initial conversations with Mel, did you think it was weird? Did you kind of call him crazy at first to think that, hey, we couldn't even get a rookie league team here? You're swinging for the fences by trying to go after a AAA team.
Well, I didn't really think it was crazy. I just thought it was something that, I had a lot of negative feedback from a lot of different people in Major League Baseball because of, Canadian, the border, being kind of far away from everyone else, and the logistics weren't really in a good place. And so there was a lot of, and again, a lot of credit goes to Mel for saying, I'm not going to give up on this thing. And the biggest thing kind of for me was, we got to have somebody that's willing to finance this thing. And Peter, obviously, after talking to Mel and Mel selling him on his idea, it grew and went and was very successful for a lot of years.
I know in the initial stages, the original plan was maybe bring an expansion team in, and there was going to need to be a partner team to come in as well. It was Las Vegas, and Vegas was a couple of years away. So the PCL came back and said, you know what? No, you guys are going to have to buy somebody out if you want this. Was there ever a moment where you went, maybe this dream that Mel has is over, or did you get the sense that he was going to be a pit bull and was not going to take no for an answer?
Yeah, no, he was definitely not going to take no for an answer. And there were times where I go, Mel, I'm not sure that want to continue with this process, but he just didn't take no for an answer. He deserves all the credit for what he did and how the Trappers became an entity here in the Edmonton area.
Do you remember if you were at that first home game?
Oh man, I don't remember. I'm not sure. And I was involved in radio with Al Coates and
okay.
then TV. They had the TV part too. So I was teaching. I was throwing BP and doing stuff on the field with the ball club, and then I would jump in the shower and jump up in the booth with Coates, Al Coates, and do some color commentating. So yeah, it was a full circle for me. I did a little bit of everything. It was fun though. I really enjoyed it and loved those. Those were great years and great days. Thinking back.
You have had quite the career in baseball. I'm curious, when you look back on it, what are you most proud of to this point?
Yeah, I don't think I think of it that way. I just think of every time I get a call or I see someone, it's just kind of my life. It's just part of the day, going from day to day. But there's and then every once in a while somebody will say, "Oh, you remember this, or you remember that, or I remember this," and you recall the fun times or the neat situation that happened, and so it's hard to explain, Joe. I don't know how to really explain all the feeling that I've gotten and the rewards that I've gotten in so many different ways, and that so many people that I've met, and I was with 6 different major league organizations, and so I get a lot of I reach out, but I get a lot of people that reach out to me, and sometimes it's just to say hi and how are you doing, and especially during the pandemic, the COVID thing. There was always, I'm moving on age-wise, and people are always calling just to see how I'm doing and see how my family is. So that's rewarding. That's makes you feel good.
Couple of final questions here for you. First off, when I mention the name Mel Kowalchuk, what comes to mind for you?
I think that the terminology or the words that you mentioned earlier was just perseverance, just not giving up on his dream, on his the first time he came to me, it was all I remember now. The first time he came, he was working for a paper called, I'm not sure if you're familiar. He was working for a paper called the Western Producer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just kind of plugging away, doing what he did, like selling advertising for them or something. And he didn't know me, and I didn't know him, and he got a hold of my number somehow, and he called me and said, "Hey, I just thought, do you mind if we could sit down and talk about some things? I've got some ideas I want to run by you." And I said, "No, yeah, yeah." So we I think we had lunch together that day, and he threw the idea out at me, and I just kind of went, "Where is this coming from?" But there's how it started, and I don't want to take the credit at all, because Mel was the one that really initiated it, and I supported it as much as I could, and because I was going in 16 different directions and had a young family, and a wife, and so it was kind of difficult for me to absorb at the beginning. But that's all I can say about that, because he definitely pursued that, and perseverance. That would be the word that I could use, I guess, one word if you wanted it.
Mm-hmm. Final question for you here, and I ask this of everybody, but especially given that you've had such a prolific life in baseball, what does the game of baseball mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. It means it's how, it was a passion. It started born and raised on the farm in northern Alberta, Wandering River, Amesbury, till I was 12 years old. I had a brother who was 6 years older than I was, and I just fell in love with the game because he exposed it to me. I was a bat boy for his senior team, and I guess I was kind of good at it, and so that helped me be more interested. And so, and then I went away to Florida when I was in high school to a couple of baseball schools, going from the farm to the friggin' Toronto to New York to Florida on a plane that that was unheard of back in those days. That was in what year would that have been, in early 60s, and so it's always been and I love watching. I have an app on my TV and on my phone that I can watch every game that's going on, and I bounce around. And so I guess I second guess managers. And then now the analytic stuff that's going on in the game, and I'm kind of happy that I'm not in the game anymore, because to me all the analytics that are going on is taken away from the actual game. And so the passion is and my first marriage ended after 24 years because of my passion. It was almost like baseball was number one and my family was number two. And then my second marriage, Susan said, I'll support you any way I can, and she lets me do my thing, and she does her thing with the grandkids, and it continues. I'm up here in Prescott, Arizona, as we speak right now. I come up here every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, stay with the guy that owns the baseball academy up here, Rob Chris. And I do lessons for 3 days, and it keeps me active. It keeps me involved. The parents are great. The kids are great. And it does my heart good to do what I do. I still have that passion.
Wonderful to hear. Orv, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for sharing the memories of the 81 Trappers and beyond. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, Joe. Enjoyed it.
The original Trappers team included a number of players who had either already spent time in the majors or were going to in short order. The likes of Rod Allen, Jay Laviglio, and Reggie Patterson helped that team to a 62-74 record under manager Gordie Lund. One of the pitchers on the roster was Bill Atkinson. The former Montreal Expos hurler went 8-8 with a 5.48 ERA in 36 games, including 16 starts. What made Atkinson unique is that he's Canadian. We talked about that with a Chatham, Ontario native, as well as his time with the Trappers. Bill, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Take us back to 1981. You find yourself back in your home country playing for the brand new Edmonton Trappers. What was that like?
Well, it was good to be back in Canada, but I mean, of course, from there we had to fly to the States again and do whatever we did. And of course, in '81, Hawaii had the San Diego Padres AAA team. So we flew there. We were there for 14 days because you weren't going back again. So we played all that. We came back. And, of course, when I got back, my wife was there with my newborn son, who David was just born and just a baby. And, of course, my wife went, "Oh, my God, how come we couldn't go to Hawaii?" I said, "Well, you just had the baby." So I said, "Well," she goes, "Okay." So we had a lot of fun there. I bought a old Pinto that was pretty well falling apart. We had to push it half the time to get it started. But everything was good. Even the wives, when they used it, they used to have to push it and get it started and, pop the clutch and rum, 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 rum. Then they come to the ballpark, boom, boom, boom. Because we go with one of their husbands and another player. And it was crazy. But we had a lot of fun. It was a good city. I love Edmonton. Everything was fine there. It was, oh my God. The only thing I hated was one-way streets.
What was it like going to the ballpark in Edmonton at that time? Like I said, a brand new team. There's kind of a new atmosphere around it. From a player's perspective, was it pretty fun heading to the ballpark each day?
Well, it was fun heading to the ballpark, but it was a brand new ballpark. So they were still working on it. We're down by the river. It was fantastic. I mean, the clubhouse was good. The stands were good. When my wife was there, I'd look out from the bullpen because I was mainly a reliever. I started every once in a while, but I was mainly a reliever. And I'm looking up. My wife's got the baby. Next thing I know, my baby is going through the stands. Somebody's taking him through the stands. But it was fantastic. The people were fantastic. They were gorgeous. If I had to, I'd play there again.
You have any favorite memories of your time in Edmonton, whether it be on the field or maybe even off?
Well, the big part was a lot of guys chewed back then. Chewed tobacco. And I told our clubhouse guy, or our trainer, or whatever you want to call him, to get a box of Red Man chewing tobacco. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "A box with a lot of cases in it." He says, "We can't get that across the border." I just told him, I said, "Don't worry about it. I can get it across because I'm a Canadian." He says, "Oh, okay." So he ordered one. We brought one back. Customs went, "What's this for?" I said, "For me." He said, "What are you going to do with that?" I said, "I'm going to chew it." He goes, "What's your prospect?" So I gave my birth certificate and everything. He said, "Oh, you're Canadian." Okay. So away we went. We went from there. That was it.
Unreal.
So I brought the whole case in. Everybody dug in. It was a good time. We had a lot of fun.
Was it a little extra special for you being the Canadian, having the chance to spend a few years in your home country playing baseball?
Well, it is fantastic because, I mean, playing in Canada is one thing, but being a Canadian and doing it is another. And, I mean, I still have it's like a jacket. It's like I don't know what you would call it. It's like a sweat jacket or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy out there is a reporter, has got it.
Huh.
And it's got the Expo symbol on it. So I don't know who has it because I can't remember the name, but he was a reporter, and he asked me about it, and I said, here. So.
Very cool. You had a 12-year pro baseball career, 4 in the bigs. When you look back on it, what are you most proud of?
Just, being a little guy and making it to the big leagues. I think I did okay. I'm only 5'9". Today they won't even look at a 5'9". And I threw top speed probably 92, but I had a great curveball. And being a Canadian, you don't get many chances, especially back then. And today, of course, everybody's all over the place in Canada, but back then, I think there was only, 6 or 7 of us in the big leagues. Today, there's 30, 40. It's crazy. But I grew up a kitty corner across the street from Fergie Jenkins. And Fergie and I used to talk all the time. And I told Fergie one day I was going to do the same thing he's doing. And Fergie looked at me like, yeah, okay. And then when I signed with Montreal in 71, Fergie was the first guy to call me and congratulate me. And that meant a lot.
What was it about baseball that caught your attention? Because we even talk about it to this day. Canada is such a hockey and football-oriented country, and yet here you were growing up wanting to play baseball.
Well, I played a lot of sports. I played hockey. I played football and everything. But I lost half an ankle in my left foot with a power lawnmower. The guys next door were playing football, and they tossed the football and buckled my knees. And, of course, the only thing I had to hold of was a lawnmower. So when I went down, it pulled back, and it sliced my ankle. I hobbled into the house. My mother picked me up, put me in the car. I got blood flying all over the place in the windshield. And she drove right down the middle of Queen Street in Chatham to the hospital, pulls up, opens the door, grabs hold of me, and we got 2 cruisers following us. And my mother goes, if you want to talk to me, you talk to me when I get him inside the house, because he is sore, he's hurt, and you're not going to touch me until I get him in the hospital. All of a sudden, the one cop looked at my ankle, and he passed out.
Jeez.
So my mother goes, you want to talk to me now? Go ahead. But my son comes first. So, but no, my mother taught me my curveball. She taught me a lot of things. She's a fantastic lady. And, I'm just getting to be that age where I got to remember everything, if you know what I mean.
Was she the one that taught you about the resilience? Because I feel like if that were to happen to a kid nowadays, there'd be a whole lot of, oh, woe is me. And yet here you were just saying, okay, well, I guess I'll try something different. And you managed to succeed in ways that many could never dream of.
Well, when I was younger, I had 2 coaches, one by the name of Royce Hyatt and the other by Jerry Beckett. And they told me, you're better than the rest of the players here, but do yourself a favor and do not get rabbit ears. And I don't know if you know what rabbit ears means, but don't listen to other people when you're pitching or playing. So okay. So I never, I could be in a stadium with 55,000 people, and I don't even hear them. That's the thing that developed in me, and that's probably why I got to where I was.
One of the things that I was reading an article that was based on you, and one of the things that it mentioned was how you were there to have fun, essentially. And this is going back to the Edmonton days, but even beyond Edmonton, when you look back on it, sounds like you had a lot of fun playing the game.
Oh yeah, baseball is baseball. I mean, I love playing it. I mean, when I retired, I played in London for the majors. Then I come back home and played for the Diamonds for a few, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Then I went to play law ball. Then my knees went. So that was the end of that. But I went to umpiring, and it's crazy, but you know, baseball is baseball. You got to, if you love it, you got to do it. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Absolutely. Final question for you, and I ask this of all of our guests. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Game of baseball means a hell of a lot to me because, excuse the language, but it means a lot to me because it made me grow. It made me become a human being and a father and a family man. And as far as everything goes, it built my house. I have a family. I have 2 vehicles. I owe nobody anything. I have money in the bank, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, we didn't make much money. Today, I talked to Doug Melvin a couple of years ago in St. Mary's, and he says, you know, today, Bill, you'd be making $4.5 to $5 million a year. I said, Doug, don't even go there, man. Jesus, Pete. I'll tell you. I told him, I said, I'd come out, give me $1 million, and I'll come out and blow my arm out for you. He just chuckled. He goes, yeah, but back then, nobody made any money. The biggest salary I ever made was $35,000.
Wow.
So, you know.
All for the love of the game.
Yep. You gotta keep what? I love playing it.
And we loved hearing your stories about playing it as well. Bill, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Thanks again to both Orr Franchuk and Bill Atkinson for joining us this week to share their memories of the 1981 Edmonton Trappers and how they came to be. Again, for the full written story, go to albertadugoutstories.com. Until next time, thanks for all of your support, no matter the platform of Alberta Dugout Stories.